The Institute of World Affairs at the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee presents International Focus, a weekly discussion of the people and events behind today's global headlines. Support provided by Milwaukee Public Television and the UWM Center for International Education. Now here's your host, Rob Ricigliano.
Welcome to International Focus. Today's topic, African-led development. Despite Africa's wealth of natural and human resources, many people remain locked in a cycle of poverty. While traditional outside aid agencies continue to work in nations throughout the continent, there is a parallel development model centered on African self-reliance and self-determination. Our guest today exemplifies that African-led approach. Mary Koroma is a midwife and community organizer who directs the Sierra Leone branch of the All African Peoples Development and Empowerment Project. The current focus of her work is an infant and maternal health project aimed at reducing the infant and maternal mortality rates in Sierra Leone, currently among the highest in the world. After leaving her post in a government hospital, she used her own resources to build a community clinic just outside the country's capital, where she has dramatically improved rates of successful birth outcomes. She has also taken a lead role in the establishment of four multi-acre vegetable farms, a skills training center, a nursery school, and a health and birth clinic that treats over 200 patients each month. We're also joined by Nate Gilliam, AAP DEP, Director of Finance and Economic Development. Mary and Nate, welcome to National Focus. Mary, I'm wondering if you, Nurse Mary, I'm wondering if you might start us off by giving us a little bit of an overview of the situation that you deal with in Sierra Leone.
Yeah, thank you very much. Sierra Leone is counted among the least underdeveloped country in the whole world. There are factors responsible for the country underdevelopment, especially on this infant maternal mortality. We are lack in certain areas in terms of the health sector, like education, agriculture, etc. And in the health sector, the lapses in the health sector is that women and children died and the cause of poverty, because poverty is the main contributing factors towards all this. With all the abundant mineral resources in our country, people are dying every now and then. So, ABDEP organization, we intervene in such a way in order to help the communities to enable to get this healthcare system so that we'll be able to reduce the maternal and infant mortality in Sierra Leone. Moreover, in the area of education, there are more of teenagers who die in pregnancy because of poverty. They go away on the street, getting men, and the men will not be responsible for them. So we bring them back, educate them, sensitize them on how really they become self-reliant on skill trainings. So we teach them how to become self-reliant. We teach them all this. That's the reason why we open a skill training center for the teenagers to go to school to learn something more so that they will be able to help themselves. And the School of Nursing, we try to lay a foundation in order, we'll teach nursing up to 3 years so that they will go in the communities, teach people about, in order to, we advocate to teach them how really that should be done to traditional birth attendants, women of childbearing age, in order to be able to help to reduce the infant maternal mortality in Sierra Leone.
I want to get more into the specifics of the approach and APDEP's involvement with that, but I want to bring Nate in a little bit, because I want to join the work you're doing in Sierra Leone with you, Nate, and hear a little bit of how you connected with that. What brought you into this story and into working with APDEP?
Right. Well, ABDEP, my individual journey in ABDEP is just going and meeting some of the people that organized, that were a part of this organization. And I met them, and I was really won to this idea of African people being one people and working together collectively in our own interests, developing projects, not just for the sake of project's sake, but just to really, deal with the problems in our communities wherever we are. So I was really won to that idea. So I got involved with the work. So I've been involved with the work for a little bit over a year now. In terms of the connection with the work in Sierra Leone, that's basically the premise of ABDEP. It's uniting the skills and resources of African people wherever they lie to develop Africa itself and African communities. So, the work in Sierra Leone is just a part of our work as ABDEP. So we bring Nurse Mary here to speak about this, to get this out to, the U.S. community, or even, in Europe or wherever else that we can, get this word out to, and then, support that work that's going on in Sierra Leone. So,
and Nurse Mary, I want to pull us back. You began talking about some of the work of your program specifically, and sort of the multi-faceted nature of that. I want to get both of your input on an even more basic question, which is this idea of African-driven, African-led development, and how that's different than, say, the traditional kind of more charitable development model that is maybe more prevalent in the world, but maybe not as effective. And I'm wondering if you could talk some about how these programs are kind of community-based and community-driven as a different kind of model.
Yeah. The directly to the community, like let me say, the All African People's Development and Empowerment Project is a program that is we try to address the horrible situation that has been imposed on Africans all over the world. Like let me say, in Sierra Leone, with all the resources that we have, we live in average poverty in terms of health, education, and so forth and so forth. So we thought it fit that the intervention of ABDEP organization is in order for us to bring all African people together so that we'll be able to address this horrible situation. In order to we join together to teach ourselves, and we are a membership-based organization. So we put together in order to help grow the Africans and to address certain important issues that have been imposed in us. So this is the reason why the ABDEP organization formed to help and address certain situations, like the School of Nursing that we have, the ABDEP Sierra Leone Executive Management Executive come together, one, to teach nurses, to lay a solid foundation in order to help reduce the infant maternal mortality. And also, the skill training centers that we have in the interior part of the country, so that for our own dropout sisters that has been in the streets, we bring them on board to teach them to be self-reliant so that they will be able to address their own situation in the better way it should be. Then we have even the little kindergarten school that has been open. The dropout women will not be able to take care of their children. So we make sure we open a school of kindergarten so that we'll be able to address this situation, to take care of these children in the way so that they will be able to teach the mothers skills. We'll put on skills training so that they will be able to take care of the children in future. Likewise, the TBAs. We are here.
TBAs, the traditional birth attendants.
Yes, the traditional birth attendants. We complement the effort of the government in such a way because there is a problem in the country that the Sierra Leone has the highest maternal mortality rate in the whole world, as far as we are concerned. And the TBAs are directly working under the supervision of the trained medical staffs in the government sector. And these people are living in the vast interior part of the country. And the country is lack of so many resources in terms of equipment like the ambulance and the distance from the one place to another if there's complications in pregnancy. These TBAs complement the efforts of the medical personnel because of the distance they covered to convey the patients from one place to another. These are the things that they lack in the city and even the country as a whole. But to embrace the TBA, since they are trying to lay them off from this particular area of delivering because they do not know their limitation. So we intervene. The ABDEP organization intervene in such a way to teach them to become self-reliant, to learn skills so that they will be able to even know to manage their own way of limitation in pregnancy, so that we'll too come together to embrace them, to see how best we can be able to manage them. Because the free healthcare actually is ongoing, but it's not effective all over the world, even in Sierra Leone right now. So this is the reason why we as an organization, we are now complementing the effort of the government all over the world, likewise in Sierra Leone.
So it feels like the idea of involving the community, involving women especially, and men, as you've mentioned before, it speaks to the empowerment part.
Yes.
Right. Is that the idea that we what maybe is lacking in terms of resources and infrastructure? It's one way of dealing with that is empowering people, and that's what these programs are aimed to do.
We empower the women in such a way so that with the materials we got, we teach them on skill trainings. So, like the TBAs also, we teach them in order to, to them to become self-reliant so that they will be able. We empower them to learn something beneficial for their future, so that the government will be able, to take care of this kind of situation. That's to complement the efforts of the government in such a way. So this is the reason why the ABDEP organization, we thought it fit that we all come together, despite the horrible conditions that are being imposed on us in terms of poverty. But I believe that together we can succeed as one African and one nation. We'll be able to meet our goal.
And we're about a minute out from our break, and it also strikes me that you, based here, student here at UWM, are also joining with Nurse Mary and others in Africa. And is the model the same? I mean, is the empowerment, the locally led, I mean, how do you fit into that picture?
Right. Well, I think ABDEP takes a really honest approach in terms of the legacy of colonialism, slavery here in different places. So the characteristics of the work, wherever ABDEP members are, will be different. But in terms of understanding that relationship and how the development needs to be led, there's complete unity in terms of everybody that's in the organization and even our supporters that understand that as well. I think the important part of African-led development is it's very powerful to understand in terms of where we have like charities and NGOs or the government that may not have a complete vested interest in overturning these problems. For example, like a quote I heard, recently, in terms of somebody sitting on a stove, has a different experience than somebody observing someone sitting on the stove. There's a material interest for that person to get off that stove as opposed to the observer. So the same situation for African people. There's a different understanding of, African people know because of their conditions, their experience, they need to have development in a certain type of way that makes sense, that's practical, as opposed to somebody observing the situation and, thinking this might work and they don't know because they don't have that same experience as that individual. So
I want to delve much more into this after our break. For our viewers, we'll be back in just a moment on International Focus.
The Institute of World Affairs presents our community with a range of public programs relating to global issues, U.S. foreign policy, and the world economy. For more information about the Institute of World Affairs, call 414-229-3220 or visit our website at www.iwa.uwm.edu.
Welcome back to International Focus. We're talking with Nurse Mary Koroma from Sierra Leone and with Nate Gilliam, who's based here at UWM, both of whom work with an organization called the All African People's Development and Empowerment Project. And Nate's impressed that I've got that down so quickly. So Nate, before the break, we were talking about sort of the model that APDEP uses in bringing people together, and how it is tied very much to the legacy of colonialism and slavery, and that's where maybe the focus on kind of empowerment comes from. And you gave the analogy of the person sitting on the stove as a different experience than the person watching the person sitting on the stove. Right. So can you take us more about how that then translates into how we here in the United States can work with people like Mary in Sierra Leone?
Right. See, that's the thing, is people need to understand, African people, wherever they are, really have a different experience than any other people. Right. Like in the U.S., African people are highly, unemployed and underemployed. Even our healthcare numbers, all these things are linked together from that legacy that we speak of. So we need to understand it in that way. So when we in terms of, the work that people want to do to support it, and as well, how should I say this? In terms of the people and they want to support that work, it's just really understanding that legacy from it and being honest about that history, and really understanding that African people need to lead their own development because their interests are tied to that. We want a lot of people to support that type of work and that effort because, we want to see any human being be able to, access resources, and other things that everybody else has access to. So that's the main point. In the U.S. too, we have to win people to the understanding that, the ideology of our organization is that African people are one people just dispersed all over the world. And, there's tons of evidence to state that. So, in terms of the, U.S. people or, U.S.-based, people wanting to help that work, it would just be like us organizing to help. It's not even a charitable model. It's just we're helping our own people in our organization and African people. So we don't have that kind of disconnect in terms of, African people here. It's just one people. There's different problems because of their legacy or their geographic location, but we need to understand that and work concretely with the people on the ground that understand that in that geographic place and how we can support that work and help that to grow.
Great. And Mary, you talked about how this translates within Sierra Leone in terms of what I was impressed by what you were talking about is that it really when you're sitting here in the West, and people that are watching the person on the stove, and we're seeing what's happening in a place like Sierra Leone, and so what occurs to people who are not engaged with that or involved or directly affected is, well, do I give money? Do I help out in some way? And I suppose the answer is always yes, as someone who's worked a lot with nonprofits. But you do a lot. Your work really feels distinctive in the sense that it's about the difference you make is how you work with people. Can you talk a little bit about the process by which you work with communities and why that's important?
Yeah, the APDEP organization is a membership-based organization. In that way, we bring people together to be a registered member. So they registered, and out of the money we used, out of the membership, we put it together to do agriculture work so that money we be able to use to sustain the people in the community. So that from there, even like we lack of even food, to even help the pregnant women and children. These are the strategies we use in order to get food for work. Then at the same time, the strategy we use to get food to even fill, the children that we have in our schools. So we come together every month, we make sure we put together to help the communities, and we move from one end to the other. So these are the monies that we even use to buy drugs. To go to the other village, we go on mobile clinics, we disseminate the message, teach people how to come together, teach them how to become self-reliant, teach them how to work on our own to become an independent as one Africa and one nation. These are the things we do. We go on sensitization in order to us to help develop our country. Because we will not just sit down and rely on the government. We have to work hard to make sure things happen in our own little way. So these are the way we do. And we even go through people to do fundraising in other parts of the country so that they will help us in order to move our projects forward.
Yeah, and Mary, I mean, nothing. We said a little bit about some of the successes that you've had on the ground, and that's what I think speaks very loudly to all the audiences. And I'm wondering if there's a particular success story you could tell us, or some story about individual people and how you were able to work with them successfully to deal with infant and maternal mortality.
Like in the Allentown community in the city of Freetown, we come together and we form an organization of traditional birth attendants. Then even other members come together. We educate them about our membership. It's a membership-based organization. So we put the money together. So we start our in a very small scale way of developing, bring people together. So conducting deliverings, going from house to house sensitization, we do home visits in order to encourage pregnant women and children to come to the health center. So if you come to the health center, you will be able to know your status in pregnancy. So we do that, and we have a little clinic. Now the clinic is growing gradually from the time we started the clinic. We now got, every month, we'll got up to 200 patients that are coming in, even to conduct deliverings. We have so many deliverings in every month. We delivered up to 60 or 40 babies per month every month. Then we make sure we also provide food for them, you know, out of the agriculture work we do. Out of our own skill, farming, we grow crops, you know. So the day of the clinics day, we make sure we bring them together, we give them food to encourage, because some will go without food in the clinic, and that is the only way we will be able to encourage them, to motivate them, you know, in our communities. So like the example, like the Bangbato community, we also form a membership base, you know, a strategy in a way. So everybody come together, they become a registered member, they put together. So they have an initiative to build a fishing boat. So they are now trying to couple up the boat so that we'll be able to get a fishing project. And the project is fast moving, so that we'll be able to sustain out of all these things. In Mokanji, we have now tried to get up to 3 or 4 acre cassava farm. And from these stuffs, we'll be able even to sustain the project.
Well, that's a key word. I mean, the sustainability. I mean, so is this the key to making these, I mean, are these projects becoming, I mean, self-sustaining or sustainable?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And because that's always the key, I think, to you can create initiatives, and you can do anything in the short term, but does it work more in the long term? And that's that. The other thing that impressed me, what you're saying, is that so cassava farms and fishing projects seem so far away from infant maternal health, but you're saying actually no, they're very much related.
Yeah. Yes, the cassava farm, that's like what we are trying to say, to sustain. If we want to reduce even the infant maternal mortality in Sierra Leone, these are the most contributing factors, you know, that led people to die. You know, hunger, poverty, these are the things. But the reason why we introduce all these ideas is, one, to be able to sustain, you know, the lives of people, so that if we have all these projects, we'll be able to put together to sustain all the lives of the people in terms of food, you know, in terms of, let me say, like, if you go toward a vocational center, you will learn a skill that you may prepare stuff and you put it in the market. You will be able to buy something for yourself to eat. And if you do agriculture, you will be able to have your daily food. You know, like even like the fishing projects that we have, like even the medical side. Even we are trying to put together to get drugs so that if someone fell sick or there is complication, we will be able to even help any of the members so that who will fall sick, so that we will be able to give that person a first aid treatment before sending her for referral. So these are the things we do in order to reduce maternal and infant mortality rate.
Hey, I wonder, we just have a couple minutes left, and if people want to know, gee, how can I engage with AppDep or support the kind of work that Mary is doing in Sierra Leone? How do people find out more about AppDep, how to get involved, what they can do?
One of the easiest ways is visiting our website, which is developmentforafrica.org.
Developmentforafrica.org.
Or very simply appdep.org. It'll link you to that as well, aapdep.org. So people can, support the work that's going on in Sierra Leone, support or even become a member of the organization and engage in, work in their own communities. We have, besides the work in Sierra Leone, there's actually work going on in the U.S. There's garden collectives in Huntsville, Alabama, and St. Petersburg, Florida. We had a big garden in the Fifth Ward area in Houston, Texas. We have something called the Marcus Garvey Saturday School, which is a school to teach young children skills that they'll need in the African community and the Black community in DC, skills that they might not learn in school, like renewable energy type skills and other skills that will be transferable to helping them out in the life and future, to really try to tie this question in together, like Nurse Mary says, that it's not just infant and maternal health. To reproduce life, you need these skills, and that's a thing. That's a big, powerful thing, and that's what we're trying to do as an organization.
We just have a closing minute left. If there's one big message you want to get into the heads of people here in Milwaukee, here in the U.S., about how to think about how they would support and work with people like Nurse Mary and organizations like AppDep. What's the one piece of advice you have for people?
Piece of advice, just to be open about the history and the legacy of African people and their relationship with the rest of the world. I think it's important that people understand that most people need to be independent to know how to develop their own future, and that's a key thing that people should know.
Great, thank you, Gilliam here at UWM. Nurse Mary Koroma from Sierra Leone. Thank you very much for being with us. appdep.org. People can go to if they want to find out more. To our viewers, thank you very much for being with us. We'll see you next week on International Focus.
For information about the Institute of World Affairs and its many programs, or to become a member of the Institute, call 414-229-3220 or visit us at our website.